My name is Danielle Alvarez. I'm the head chef of Fred's Restaurant in Sydney, and today we're going to be braising with a few different cuts of beautiful lamb. So today I'm going to be cooking some lamb ribs. Lamb ribs are a great cut of lamb for braising. We're going to simmer it in a little bit of water, and then we're going to make a beautiful glaze. Then we'll grill them. So for the first step, all I'm going to do is season up the lamb rack. We're going to pop this into the pot with a little bit of aromatics, garlic, bay leaves, rosemary, and thyme. Bring it up to a simmer and then into a low and slow oven. I'm going to top it up with a little bit of stock, kind of just halfway up the sides. You don't want to submerge it. Braising is all about just a little bit of liquid. So then we'll pop that over to the stove. So it's come up to a simmer now. We're just gonna put the lid on and put it in the oven. So our lamb ribs are looking really nice and tender. And you see that meat is just starting to separate there. That's beautiful, that's right where we want it. So we're just gonna set that to the side and let it cool. That'll make it easier for us to handle when we're slicing them into individual ribs. In the meantime though, we're gonna make the glaze that we're gonna brush onto them. We're gonna use a little bit of vinegar, honey, butter, some coriander, fennel, and cumin seed, some sliced chili. I'll just take that over to the stove to come up and get a little bit warm, and that'll help everything infuse and everything get really soft and pourable over the lamb ribs. So our lamb ribs have cooled off a little bit. See how that's just like so juicy, beautiful, and tender. So I'm just gonna take these over to the grill now, and then we'll put the glaze on them as they're grilling. Cooking it on the grill that way is a really nice way to render a lot of that gorgeous fat that really kept it moist during cooking. But now you want to take a lot of that out and get it nice and crispy and golden. So now when it's close to the end, that's when we want to put on our glaze. And it's just all really coming together now. And we're just about ready to plate up. We're going to serve that with a little bit of cooling yogurt, topped off with a little bit of olive oil. And those are our braised and grilled lamb ribs. So next up, we're gonna be braising a little bit of lamb brisket. I'm gonna mix it with some breadcrumbs, garlic, thyme, pistachios for a little bit of a sort of North African flavor. This is our lamb brisket and has all that beautiful connective tissue. So we just have some dried panko breadcrumbs here. Of course, if you had fresh, you could also use that. Thyme and garlic goes in. Add our chopped pistachios in, chopped apricots. And we're gonna just add in a bit of stock to give it a bit of moisture so it sticks together, and a bit of olive oil. So if I reach in here and just kind of squeeze everything together, you'll see that that filling really holds. That means it's not gonna just come out while it's braising. And put a little bit down the center. Then we're gonna roll it up and tie it. So we'll tie up our little roast here. I like to just tie it quite tightly at one end. And then the other end. So that just locks it in place there, and then we'll do a couple little more ties in between. They're all ready to go. Okay, so we've rolled and tied and filled our beautiful lamb briskets, and now we're just gonna take it over to the stove, give them a nice sear, and then put some gorgeous potatoes, a bit of liquid, and pop it into the oven. Okay, so our pan is nice and hot, and then we'll just add these to the pan to get nice and brown. Some types of braising are better suited towards a bit of browning beforehand and then adding the liquid in. But it adds a really beautiful, what's called a fond, which is that brown bit that is really delicious. And when you add in the liquid and deglaze your pan, it's just gonna add so much more flavor to everything. So at this stage, everything's nicely colored all the way around. So that white wine is gonna cook out. Adding some stock about halfway up the sides, and add in some potatoes and some thyme, and then we're just gonna put that into the oven. So our lamb brisket has finished. I know it's done by just sticking a knife in and wiggling it around and seeing that everything is a bit soft and tender. We're gonna take those off, pull those little strings off, and then slice these up and serve. Probably just gonna finish that one off with a little bit of chopped parsley. And then we'll spoon over some of that really delicious liquid that's come out of the bottom. And there you have, that's our finished braised lamb brisket filled with apricots and pistachios.